So you might have seen this in a lot of different applications, and that is the ability to send out invites via email so that people can join your projects or whatever SaaS product that you're trying to use. And that's something that was recently added to this projectplannerai.com application. If we go to create a plan, I'm going to go ahead and create it under my WebDev Cody account. And I'll say an application to help send WebSockets and web developers. And one thing that you'll see after the plan is created or is currently in the process of being created is I can go to settings over here, and down by collaborators, I can actually add the email address of someone I want to invite to be able to see this plan specifically. And the feature we added is a little bit different from like how organizations work. That's a little bit more complex. This is more a fine-grained authorization where you basically create an entry in a table to keep track of what users have access to this particular plan. I'll kind of explain all the code later on. I'm going to add this email address, which is another account that I use. And for sending out the emails, I'm using resend.com. This isn't sponsored. This is just a really quick way that we set it up on our project to send out emails. But now I'm kind of second guessing using this because it's been stuck on sent for 2 minutes now and it's not showing up in my inbox. So I might just kind of add a workaround. This was working fine before, but now for some reason it's just not sending out this email. But anyway, let's just do this manually. Let's look at the email that's sent out. This is the email template, which is using React to build out. And if I click on this join the team button, this will redirect us back to our application, and it should basically set us up access to that account. I might actually have to copy the link address since I'm doing it here, but you can see here, there is a /join address with a token. This is a unique one-time use token that when you use it, you get redirected to the projectplannerai.com application. It's going to ask you to sign in. I'll click any of my Google accounts and click continue. So how this works is when you went to that first link, we have a hook that runs when the page first loads. It checks if the token exists in our table. If it does, we go ahead and delete that token, and then we grant access to that same project. So now if I were to go back to my Teams page, you'll see this WebSocket Wizard project show up, and we can actually send messages to each other. So I can go ahead and say, thanks for the invite. Go ahead and send that out. And now if I were to log out and log back in as my WebDev Cody email, and go to my WebSocket Wizard project that we just created, go to messages, you can see that it says thanks for the invite. So now you actually have two people who are working on the same project plan. They can create work items together, they can send messages to each other. And as the admin of this plan, I can actually go and remove this person from having access if I want to. So there you have it. It no longer shows up on his Teams page. And if you were to actually go to that hard-coded URL, he'll get a bunch of warnings or errors saying that you don't have access to this plan anymore. Now, before I show you the actual code of how this is implemented, I do want to lay out like how this works, just at a higher level. So we have a user and they are going to be basically the admin, right? And so they're going to make a request to our backend to say, hey, I need you to send an invite. So I'll say send invite. And this is going to basically generate a token, store the token. So if I get like a database, we can go ahead and add that in. I'll just say store token over there. And then finally, we want to send out an email. So I'll put resend over here, but you can use SES. It's actually not too hard to use SES if you want to. So send email. So then at a later point, there's going to be another user who needs to come along. So they're the user who wants to open up that invite. They're going to go ahead and open that. So I'll just say open email. And so once the user opens the email, we are actually going to redirect them to our application, which is going to send a token in the request. So I'll just go to this, I'll put a browser, and then we will say open app with token equals ABC. So this goes to a page that has a token in the URL. We take that token and we store it in local storage, and then this is going to redirect them to some login, right? So I'll just put a key here. We'll say auth. Now again, this is assuming they're not logged in already. If they are logged in, we can just quickly validate the token and like send them back to the plan. But in case they're not logged in, we ask them to log in or create an account. Okay, and once they create an account, that's actually going to redirect them back to the same page typically, or you can specify what the callback URL is. And then what we do is we're going to call another endpoint to basically take that token that was in the URL, and we're going to go ahead and call validate on it. So validate token, which is going to make a request, checks if token exists in DB. I do believe I should say store token in local storage. I'll just put that in there. I don't know, this could be like 5A or something. I think I forgot about that. So then basically when this page loads, the new route, it's going to check local storage. Hey, I got the token, and then it checks to make sure the token exists in the database. If it does, then we go ahead and just delete the token. So I'll say step 8 is delete token. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and store an access record. I'll go ahead and put a database over here so we don't have like many lines going to the right, but I'll just go ahead and say create access record, which is going to point a user ID to a plan. And this is the access record that we're going to be using throughout our application to make sure that, hey, when someone tries to create a work item or send a message or do whatever, check to make sure they have that access record, or else you don't want them to be able to do that. I think this is a good overview of how you can set up an email-based invite system so that A, it helps with marketing of your application, and B, it just helps you invite people who may not have created an account yet to your application. You want to make it as seamless as possible, and this is the way we kind of implemented it in our application. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of how we set this up. This is going to be shared code, so you just have to like pay attention and learn if you want to learn how this is done. Basically, when you are on that collaboration page and you click on that input and you say send an invite, that is going to call this endpoint. Again, I'm using Convex for my backend, but like just think abstractly. This is going to be the same logic you'd add to your Next.js API endpoints, your server actions, gRPC endpoints, it doesn't matter. So the front end sends in a plan ID, and it also sends in an email. And we first check, hey, is the user who's making this request, are they an admin of the plan? Are they a plan owner? And then down here, after we verify we're an admin, we create a one-time use token using some crypto library, I believe. So if I just go to like this method, create token, all this create token method does is check, hey, have we already sent an invite to this person's email? If so, throw an error. Otherwise, we need to generate a token and store that in our table somewhere, right? So we have a schema that keeps track of these tokens, and it maps the email to the plan and the unique token. So the way I'm generating the token is I'm using Web API Crypto here. I just say get random values. I pass it some array of arbitrary length. The larger you make this array, the more secure it's going to be. And then we just convert it to like a readable string. Okay, so then down here, we get the plan, so we can get some plan information to put that in the email template. And then we are calling resend, and we're saying, hey, from this account, let's just go ahead and send it to that email that we need to, put the plan name in the title, and then also use a React component to render out the template and send it in a couple of things. Okay, so let's look at this React template. This is just some JSX that kind of builds out an email. I think we're using React emails. Yeah, at React email. And we just go ahead and make out that template like I showed you on the resend page. Oh, we're going back here. It says transient communication failure delivery delay. This is probably why you should probably just use AWS SES. But anyway, let's just go ahead and look at this. So this is the email template that's set up. So somewhere here, there's a blue button that says join the team, and that has your invite link on it, and it also has the token. So when they click on that, that's going to take you to an invite page. And so if you click on that, that takes you to a join page. So if I say join, let's look at this page. Basically, when this page loads, we check if there's a token. If there is, we store it on local storage. And then we're going to redirect back to that clerk login if they're not logged in. If they are logged in, we can just go ahead and call an endpoint to verify that token, right? So somewhere in here, there's a use effect that keeps running and running and running to make sure you're logged in and make sure the token's set, make sure a bunch of other stuff is set. And then we call grant access by token. So looking at the grant access by token, we take in an email and also a token. I don't know why email's here. I think that can actually go away because once we have the token, yeah, I'm pretty sure all we need is the token. I'm gonna refactor this code live for you all. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get the invite. Okay, so let's just go ahead and grab the invite and look up in that invites table where the token is. And then if there is no invite, we are gonna say throw an error. Okay, so the next step is the invite should have some information on it, such as the email of the user. So what we do is we look up all the users by email, find the one that was attached to that one on the token entry that had the email. If we don't find them, throw an error. What we also want to do is we want to get the current user who's making this request. So I'll say like await get user ID. So we do this check just to make sure you don't give yourself access to like your own plan. So you cannot invite yourself. So we check that. So now at this step, we just look up the plan using that plan ID and we make sure it exists in our system because you wouldn't want to give someone access to a plan that's been deleted since they've opened the email. I think this code can go away actually. I don't think we need that. So at this point, I think everything should be good. So we can grant access. We have this access table that links users to plan IDs. And we basically have it say, link the user ID that was in that user to add to the plan ID that was sent over, set the status to approved, and then also delete that invite. So that token can never be used again and it should be removed from the system and return. So after adding the user to the plan, we just redirect to the plan that is sent back from this method. And then they should be able to see the plan perfectly fine. Well, that's basically the overview. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and comment if you did. It helps my channel grow. And like always, I have a Discord channel. You guys are welcome to join if you want to find a place to hang out and talk to some other developers. Other than that, have a good day and happy coding.